Hey guys, Bump here, bring you another Dragonflight Unholy video. Today we're taking a look at the 10.1 Unholy tier set that was announced yesterday evening for me. We're gonna have a look what it does, what the impact is on our overall DPS as well as gameplay, and discuss what I feel about it. I'm also gonna add a small discussion about 10.1 and kind of like the outlook for on 10.1 from a Unholy Death Knight perspective, talking a little bit about what we can expect moving into that patch as it currently stands. Anyway, the tier set, we got it up here. We got a 2 set where Death Call and Epidemic damage increased by 10%. Casting Death Call Epidemic grants a stack of Master of Death, and at 20 stacks, Master of Death is consumed and you gain 50% mastery for 20 seconds. Alright, for the 4 set, we got when Death Call and Epidemic consumes Sudden Doom, gain 2 stacks of Master of Death, or increase the mastery bonus to 25% for 5 seconds. Now let's break it down. So the 2 set essentially means that every 40 seconds to 1 minute, depends on haste and so on, you will get a 50% mastery buff for 20 seconds, right? Which is, you know, fine. We also have direct damage increase to Death Call and Epidemic, which also works quite well. The power gain from this is around 4%, both in sync target and AoE, which makes it kind of like fine. It's similar to the old tier sets, and in terms of power, it's, you know, same order of magnitude. My main gripe with this one is that this is something we obviously want to time with our other cooldowns, right? Unholy specifically has very strong burst windows on pull and then every 3 minutes, and ideally, we would like to time this buff with those 3-minute windows. However, that's just going to be a huge pain to deal with. There are cases where you might think that, oh, I might hold a cough on Death Call so that I proc it during my burst windows. But I think it's just going to be an absolute pain if you want to in any way consistently do that, because there's going to be lots of randomness associated with it. And I think in the end, this is just going to be like a passive tier set, right? You're going to have to treat it like that. Sometimes you get a mastery buff, nice, you know, not that impactful, and probably not something we're going to play around. For the 4 set, we have that Sudden Doom makes it stack faster, and if it's already triggered, increases the mastery bonus. Now, the 4 set is really, really weak. If the 2 set gives you 4% DPS increase, the 4 set gives you like less than 1% more. It's really, really weak. Also, like, the amount of Sudden Doom procs you get isn't that high, so you won't be able to leverage this much. You have to pick up the talent. You might think that Harbinger Boot Doom, that talent gives you a higher probability of Sudden Doom and allows you to sack it up, would, you know, favor this very nicely. However, it's still really weak. Overall, right, to summarize, the 2-piece is kind of fine. We will treat it as a passive proc because playing around it would be an absolute pain. The 4 set is incredibly weak, and I don't think it's going to feel impactful whatsoever. Overall, I'm kind of, you know, not very excited about this tier set. I don't think it's going to change our rotation. I'm not going to feel like, I don't think it's going to feel impactful at all. At best, it's going to be a real nuisance to kind of, you know, align it if that turns out to be the proper play. And the 4 set is just insanely undertuned. I don't know. To be honest though, if you look at a couple of other tier sets, it's not like an outlier being incredibly weak. However, if you compare to our current one, which is more than 10% DPS increase, it's going to feel quite bad to get a new tier set, which is not nearly as powerful. That kind of feeds into my, you know, 10.1 discussion, because I feel like we need to bring this up quite early. Unholy is not looking great moving into 10.1, right? We have a couple things that will move against us and will make it difficult for us to keep up with the other classes and specs. You know, number 1, we'll lose Puzzle Box. This might not seem like a big deal, right? It's just a trinket, right? But Puzzle Box is such an insane trinket for us that it really carries our DPS, and we won't be able to pick up anything that's nearly as strong. Just losing Puzzle Box and having to pick up something else is going to be like a 10% downgrade. It's insane. Furthermore, we have a tier set which is now much weaker. We go from getting like 10 to 11% to 4%. Also going to be difficult for us to keep up. And these two kind of together mean that Power Infusion, which has currently been a great allocation to the Unholy Death Knight, and it has also meant that we've been able to kind of compete in logs. If you look at boss damage, we are nearly top, and that is very much because we are Power Infusion targets. However, when we lose Puzzle Box, and when we generally don't get a great replacement, and we have a bad tier set, we might end up in a scenario where we stop being that, go-to Power Infusion target, and that's going to hurt us really badly. I think it's going to be a bit weird, because at the start of tier, we're still going to have everything from the last tier, right? We're going to have our 4 set, which is strong. We're going to have our Puzzle Box, which is nice, right? We're going to look strong at the Heroic Week. However, when other classes get upgrades, we will just kind of sit there and be like, we're going to get this trinket, but it's not really much better than the last tier's Puzzle Box. And they might even nerf that, who knows. So I think I would predict that, after a couple of weeks, Unholy is just really going to drop off because of this. I'm just saying this because I feel like it's important to understand that this is something that might happen. And I think Blizzard needs to understand that they need to do something against it, to help us. Either they need to, ideally I would want them to give us a better tier set. That would be nice. We need to get something that's, a semi-viable replacement to Puzzle Box. Right, a 3-minute stat trinket doesn't need to be as insane as Puzzle Box. Just need something that, is not terrible. And then they also need to think about, should we get tuning early so that we don't end up, dropping off and then not being viable for the tier itself. Overall, not the best news today. Unfortunately, I do usually get excited for changes, but today I can't help but feel a bit gloomy. I would like them to make a tier set that better synergizes with our, abilities. Like if the 2 set was that during Dark Transformation, Death Call increases your mastery as well. Ooh, that would be quite nice because it funnels into our build, it funnels into our talents, and it kind of feels good to ramp up the Dark Transformation over time. And then 4 set could have some other effect. I just feel like the ones currently, the 20 stacks thing, it's just weird to me. I don't like it. I don't think it's something you can play around, and if you do play around it, it's going to be an absolute pain. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think about this. Upvote, downvote, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.